afternoon. It's Sunday, January 29th. I'm Uri O'Sullivan, and this is IBA News broadcasting from Jerusalem. The Nazareth Magistrates Court this morning extended by 11 days the remand of an Israeli man suspected of murdering his wife and two young children and the young son of their neighbor. The court ordered the suspect to undergo psychiatric evaluation. A gag order has been imposed on the investigation. Police and paramedics were confronted with the horrific sight when they entered the family's home in Migdal yesterday afternoon and discovered the blood-spattered bodies of 23-year-old Dor Sela and her two infant children, Binyamin and Yosef, as well as her neighbor's son, 8-year-old Nachman Atiyah, lying inside. All reportedly suffered multiple stab wounds. A local resident spotted Nachman's 10-year-old brother, Nathan, on the road outside, covered in blood with stab wounds to the face and neck. The boy said he had succeeded in escaping through an open window and pretended to be dead. He was airlifted to Rambam's hospital and underwent surgery late last night. This morning, doctors describe his condition as moderate. The suspect was found by police hiding in a nearby field and arrested. Since the beginning of the year, 8 children have been murdered by their parents in Jerusalem, Acre, and now Migdal. The State Comptroller's Subcommittee Chairwoman Karine El-Harar announced today that relevant chapters of the Comptroller's report on Operation Protective Edge in 2014 will be made public. The committee, comprised of 3 coalition MKs and 2 from the opposition, voted in favor of the move today. The sections to be released for publication focuses on the government's handling of the war and the decision-making process by the Security Cabinet leading up to the military offensive. The committee was highly critical of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as former Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon and former Chief of Staff Benny Gantz. Prime Minister Netanyahu stood firm today behind his position that the American embassy in Israel should be moved to Jerusalem. Speaking at the start of the weekly cabinet meeting, Netanyahu responded to allegations that Israel had urged U.S. President Donald Trump to delay the move. The Prime Minister said, "Our position remains just as it has always been, that the U.S. Embassy needs to be in the holy city of Jerusalem, just like all other embassies need to be." Netanyahu added he believes that in due time they will come to the capital. His comments followed earlier remarks made by Mark Zell, the co-chairman of the Republicans Abroad Israel Group, who during an interview with Army Radio said that Israel had urged Trump to delay the process of moving the embassy. In other developments, the Prime Minister said the controversial so-called regulations bill, which retroactively legalizes some 4,000 settler homes located on Palestinian property, will be brought to a vote in the Knesset tomorrow. Netanyahu said the bill is aimed to once and for all regulate the settlement enterprise in Judea and Samaria and prevent repeated attempts to harm it. Well, former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, a close associate of new U.S. President Donald Trump, who was recently appointed to be his new cybersecurity advisor, envisions a return to the good old days of relations between Washington and Jerusalem. Giuliani was here last week and met with Prime Minister. During his visit, he spoke with Israel Television's Yaakov Achimeir.
I think it's going to be very productive. I think they both have the capacity to look at problems in globally in a complex way, and I think the two of them together, collaborating, will be very helpful. Plus, President Trump is surrounded by a group of people that are very pro-Israel and who have a lot of ideas about Israel. And obviously, Prime Minister Netanyahu has people around him with many ideas about Israel. So I think it can be a very good collaboration.
How do you see for instance, the problem of settlements?
President Trump, I think, looks at it as this is a decision Israel has to make. Israel is a sovereign country, and we are going to support Israel in making the decisions that Israel believes are necessary for its own defense. If there are objections or we have a different opinion, that'll be conveyed secretly and privately rather than openly.
Are there any objections now?
I don't think there are any at all. When settlements were made in the past under Obama or extended, Obama, Kerry, Clinton would condemn them. You'll notice that several days ago, when one of the settlements, I think 2,500 more homes are being built, the White House had a very, I think, very significant comment. No comment. But I would say that his general philosophy is that let Israel make their decisions about their security, and supported. The public kind of disagreement that was going on is over. We're back to what I told Prime Minister Netanyahu and several other Israeli officials and citizens is we're back to the good old days.
Mayor Giuliani, what will be your function or task within the Trump administration?
Well, I'm not in the administration. I'm a private citizen, so it gives me the freedom.
You are a lawyer?
I am a lawyer. I'm a cybersecurity consultant. I'm a security consultant. I am going to head the private cybersecurity committee for President Trump and bring all of the cybersecurity companies together.
In America?
In America, and he specifically asked that I reach out to Israel and bring in some Israeli companies because President Trump is aware of the fact, and he knows quite a bit about cybersecurity, by the way. He's aware of the fact that Israel is at the cutting edge in terms of solutions to cyber defense.
I thank you very much, Mayor Giuliani.
Meanwhile, chances are growing that one of the Prime Minister's ongoing investigations will turn into a criminal probe. Channel 2 has reported that during his testimony, former Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon told police that Netanyahu had directly interfered in the so-called submarine affair. Ya'alon reportedly said that the Prime Minister was involved in canceling an international tender of the warships and awarding it to the German shipmaker ThyssenKrupp, which was represented by Netanyahu's personal lawyer David Shimron. According to Channel 2, Ya'alon tried to persuade investigators that Netanyahu acted improperly with a clear conflict of interest. On Friday, the Prime Minister was questioned for the third time at his Jerusalem residence in connection to the Case 1000, which involves receiving an improper personal gifts valued at hundreds of thousands of shekels, and Case 2000 surrounding conversations he had with the publisher of Yediot Ahronot newspaper, Arnon Noni Moses. IDF forces shot and killed a 19-year-old Palestinian this morning during fierce clashes that erupted in the Jenin refugee camp. Palestinians hurled firebombs and explosive devices at troops conducting a raid in the camp overnight. The violent clashes continued for several hours until soldiers succeeded in dispersing the rioters. Palestinian media reports said Palestinian teenager Mohammed Abu Khalifa was shot dead and at least 5 other Palestinians injured. In another security-related incident, also this morning, 2 Palestinian teenagers, a male and a female, aged 15 and 16, were arrested at the entrance to the settlement of Karnei Shomron after they were found to be carrying knives. The 2 cousins were handed over to the security officials for questioning. No injuries were reported. Jerusalem municipality workers staged a strike today, blocking several roads inside the capital, protesting the failure of the finance ministry to transfer the city's yearly budget. All services provided by the municipality were shut down, with the exception of the education system. In a sharply worded letter to Finance Minister Moshe Kahlon, City Mayor Nir Barkat accused the ministry of abdicating its financial obligations to the capital over its failure to approve this year's 800 million shekel municipal budget. Prime Minister Netanyahu's tweet supporting U.S. President Donald Trump's plans to construct a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border drew a sharp response from the Mexican government. The foreign ministry expressed to the government of Israel, via its ambassador in Mexico, its profound astonishment, rejection, and disappointment over Prime Minister Netanyahu's message on Twitter about the construction of the border wall, a statement released by the Mexican foreign ministry said, adding Mexico is a friend of Israel and should be treated as such by its prime minister. In a tweeted message last night, Netanyahu said, President Trump is right. I built the wall along Israel's southern border. It stopped illegal immigration. Great success, great idea. In a bid to control the damage wrought by Netanyahu's statement, Foreign Ministry spokesman Emmanuel Nachshon issued his own response on Twitter, saying the Prime Minister had referred to our specific security experience, which we are willing to share. We do not express a position on U.S.-Mexico relations. Trump's plan to build a wall with Mexico are drawing mixed international reaction, but can such a barrier really prove to be effective in deterring terrorism and infiltration? Well, that's one of the questions Frontline recently asked Professor Rhys Jones, author of the book Border Walls, Security, the War and Terror in the U.S., India, and Israel. The interview was recorded prior to Trump's inauguration.
Security officials say all the time that show me a 10-meter wall and I'll show you an 11-meter ladder. Short sections of fencing with lots of guards can be effective at preventing movement. But over a much longer distance, and many borders are quite long, if there's no one there actually guarding it, border walls are not very effective. When you visit any of these fences, when you first get there, it seems very imposing. It's intimidating, but then you'll come across discarded ladders beside the fence. You'll see the footprints of people who've climbed up the wall. People can go around them, or they can go over them, or in many cases, they can go under them with a tunnel. But countries around the world have been building these walls on their borders. In 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down, there were only 15 border walls, whereas today there's 70 of them. Norway has built a border wall on its border with Russia. So 3/4 of the border walls that have been built in the last 25 years during the era of globalization. I've been studying borders for 15 years. Historically, borders played a role in terms of military protection. But today, the United States is not worried that Mexico is going to invade the United States. It's a symbol that the government is doing something. It's very much targeting undocumented people who are trying to move through these places. Borders have become much more the lines where states filter the types of people and goods that they want to come into their states. The types of walls can vary dramatically. Even within a single country, the type of material they use can vary. At the US-Mexico border, in the urban areas, it's a big fence, 6 meter high, that is strong enough to prevent a truck driving 100 kilometers an hour smashing into it. But in other areas, they often only have vehicle barriers. Other places, it's barbed wire or concertina wire. The most secure-looking borders are the ones in Israel. Building fences and walls, politicians often say that it's going to deter people from coming. But the claim that walls are a deterrent is not accurate. People still try to come, but they have to find alternate ways to make that trip. As it becomes harder to cross in particular places, migrants are often funneled to ever more dangerous routes to cross a border. And the result of that has been a lot more deaths at borders.
U.S. President Trump's orders to ban the entry of Muslims from 7 countries has created a storm. On Friday, the newly elected president signed an executive order curbing the entry of Muslims from Syria, Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Yemen, and Sudan. Trump described the move as one that will protect the American people. This latest action led to widespread protests in the U.S. and abroad, and many Muslims heading for America were prevented from boarding flights. Last night, a federal court ordered that refugees and other immigrants stuck at American airports should not be sent back to their home countries. Meanwhile, tonight in Tel Aviv, a demonstration to Trump's latest move is planned to take place outside the U.S. Embassy on Hayarkon Street. The new U.S. president is now also facing much criticism from leaders in the American Jewish community for failing to specifically mention that 6 million Jews perished in the Holocaust and not just innocent people, as he referred to in his official statement delivered on International Holocaust Remembrance Day, which was marked on Friday. Head of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, called the statement puzzling and troubling, describing Trump's generic phrasing as a complete change from his Republican and Democratic predecessors. In his 3-paragraph statement, Trump said that it was with a heavy heart and somber mind that we remember and honor the victims, survivors, and heroes of the Holocaust, and that it is impossible to fully fathom the depravity and horror inflicted on innocent people by Nazi terror. Critics described his comments as problematic, given that Trump has been accused of promoting anti-Semitic stereotypes during his presidential campaign and failing to condemn anti-Semitism acts among some of his supporters. The Likud party has come under fire for holding a celebratory mock primaries convention in Eilat on the same day that the world marked International Holocaust Remembrance Day. The event, dubbed the Likudiada, was attended by less than half of the some 3,000 Central Committee members. Responding to criticism that the event was held on Holocaust Remembrance Day, Culture and Sports Minister Miri Regev declared International Holocaust Day had never been covered as much as it has been this year, thanks to the Likudiada. Former Minister Silvan Shalom criticized the timing of the gathering, saying it saddened him that on a day when the whole world commemorates Holocaust victims, the party chose to hold the event, and opposition leader Isaac Herzog demanded Regev resign. In the mock elections, Regev took the first spot, with Minister Gila Gamliel coming in second, and Knesset member Miki Zohar ranking number 3. Other party members, such as Deputy Foreign Minister Tzipi Chotoveli, came in at 27, and Welfare Minister Chaim Katz got the 26th spot. America's Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, has confirmed that Israeli celebrity psychic Uri Geller has paranormal abilities. Geller's name, commonly associated with spoon bending and stopping watches, came up among some 13 million pages of declassified documents recently released by the spy agency online. Some of the documents refer to a week-long experiment conducted with Geller in 1973 at the Stanford Research Institute in California and focused on the use of supernatural powers. For his part, Geller, who lives in Israel, said he wasn't at all surprised by the release, calling the documents the tip of the iceberg.
I have done quite a lot of experiments for them in different fields, like levitating a balance, a weight from an electronic scale, to locating minerals in metal cans. Incredible. And I was not only tested at Stanford, I also went through the Lawrence Livermore radiation labs where they'll build nuclear weapons. I think the task there was to see if my mind can, get a nuclear weapon going. Shocking.
And you don't have to be a psychic to know that there are at least 5 good things happening in Israel. Israel Space IL is among 5 finalists eligible for the $30 million Google Lunar X prize competition, working to land a spacecraft on the moon. Researchers at the Hebrew University gained significant insight into the common learning difficulty of dyslexia, making treatment much more efficient. Jerusalem's old city is going to get a boost of the new, with the free Wi-Fi services expected to be given in the areas often visited by tourists. The wireless network is currently in its pilot stage in certain areas and will expand to the rest of the old city. Popular French and Japanese car maker Renault-Nissan announced plans to establish a new R&D center in Israel. Operations here will provide a hub for homegrown technologies and provide entrepreneurs access to the company's global activity. And a toast is in order for Israel's first whiskey distillery, Milk and Honey, which is gearing up to lift the spirits in Europe with first shipments of the kosher liquor slated to hit the market later this year. In finance, the stock exchange is up and currency markets are still closed for the weekend. Here are the numbers. Forecast is for partly cloudy skies with slightly warmer temperatures. Here are the expected highs and lows for the next 24 hours. That's all for this newscast. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same channel, with the latest news from Israel. Until then, I'm Uri O'Sullivan, wishing you a good evening and shalom from Jerusalem, and we leave you with shots of snow that fell in the north over the country on the weekend.